Ujambo, habari gani? Mimi ni kupenda na wewe. Furaha sawa siku. Furaha sawa siku. Happy 7th day. Furaha sawa siku. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Those who come and want to learn a little something one more time. The book of life. The book of life. I just put Furaha sawa siku as a reminder of what it is, the 7th day. Not my choice, the choice of the God of gods. Now, for those of y'all who just got through celebrating Christmas, I just got a couple questions I ask everybody when they tell me this. Where did Jesus get the last name from? His mother? No. Stepfather? No. The angels? No, they said Jesus and Emmanuel. Emmanuel with an I. As I say, as a white guy from America, how you spell Jesus, the first thing you gonna say is J. As the white guy from Mexico, how you spell Jesus, you gonna say J. You look at it, you look at both of them, you're gonna see J, but you're not allowed to say what you see. Furaha sawa siku. Furaha sawa siku. Happy 7th day. In the name of Jesus, the begotten Son of the God of God, who in John chapter 12, verse 44 say, he that truly believe in me, believe not in me, but he who sent me. Same with me. This is my fulfillment of purpose. Since I couldn't write the book of life, I will read the book of life, and those who want to read along can do so. Yeah, they call it the Bible. No, it never calls itself the Bible. It calls itself the book of life. And that's what I read from. Let us begin. The second book of Moses, called Exodus. Exodus. Kiswahili. Bili. The second book of Moses. Bili. Number 2. Bili. M-B-I-L-I. The M is silent. It's just there for front. Bili. The second book of Moses, called Exodus. Chapter 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. Each man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. All these who were descendants of Jacob were 70 persons, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, all his brothers, and all their generation. But the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply. And it happened in the event of war that they also join our enemies and fight against us and go out of the land. Therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh supply cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they inflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were in dread of the children of Israel. So the Egyptians made the children of Israel serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar, in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All the service in which they made them serve was with rigor. Then the king of Asia spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shipra, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew women, and see them on the birth stools, if it is a boy, then you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared thee, God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said to them, why have you done this thing and saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. Therefore, the God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was, because the midwives feared the God, that he provided households for them. So Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive. Sounds like Willie Lynchism back then, huh? Yeah. And in chapter 2, and a man in the house of Levi went and took his wife, a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son, and when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrushes for him, dabbed it with asphalt and pitch, put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's bank. And his sisters stood afar off to know what would be done to him. Then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along the riverside. And when they saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. So the maiden went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages. So the woman took the child and nursed him, and the child grew. And she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So she called his name Moses, saying, because I drew him out of the water. Now it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked this way and that way. And when he saw no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, two Hebrew men were fighting. And he said to the one who did the wrong, why are you striking your companion? Then he said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptians? So Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. When Pharaoh heard of this matter, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and they filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Then the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. When they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that you have come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us from the hand of the shepherds, and he also drew enough water for us and watered the flock. So he said to his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that you have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. Then Moses was content to live with the man, and he gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moses, and she bore him a son. He called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a foreign land. Now it happened in the process of time that the king of Egypt died. Then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to thee, God, because of their bondage. So thee, God, heard their groaning, and thee, God, remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And thee, God, looked upon the children of Israel, and thee, God, acknowledged them. Chapter 3. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of the God. And the angel of the God appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. So he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Then Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. So when the God saw that he turned aside to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not draw near this place. Take the sandals off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the God said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I have come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Pezerites, and the Hivedites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to the God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? So he said, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. Then, when you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve the God on this mountain. Then Moses said to the God, Indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And the God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, Thus you say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Moreover, the God said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, The God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. The God of your fathers, the God of gods. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say to them, The God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared to me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen what is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt to the land of Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hebezites, and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. Then they will heed your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt, and you shall say to him, The God of the heavens has met with us, and now, please, let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the God, our God. But I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. No, not even by a mighty hand. So I will stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in its midst. And after that, he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of Egyptians. And it shall be, when you go, that you shall not go empty-handed. But every woman shall ask of her neighbor, namely, of her who dwells near her house, articles of silver, articles of gold, and clothing. and you shall put them on your sons and on your daughters. So you shall plunder the Egyptians. Chapter 4. Then Moses answered and said, but suppose they will not believe me or listen to my voice. Suppose they say, thee God has not appeared to you. So thee God said to him, what is that in your hand? He said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. So he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from it. Then the God said to Moses, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. And he reached out his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. That they may believe that the God of our father, of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has appeared to you. Furthermore, the God said to him, now put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom. When he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous, like snow. Keep that in mind, folks. Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. Now put your hand in your bosom. When he took his hand out, behold, his hand was leprous, like snow. Now, that says a lot. See this? See my hand? See the color of my hand? Now, if I put it inside and it comes out leprous, that tells you two things. First off, if this is black, so is what I'm sitting on. My ass is black too. Now, his hand turned white. Why? Because the same reason my hand would turn white. Because his ass was black. That's why, Moses was a blacks to the max man. He was a blacks, BLAXTOTHEMAX man. A blacks to the max man. A true leader because the God showed who he is and his objective as to why he told him to put his hand in there. Number two, you know where whiteness started from. It started from the disease of leprosy. It's not my choice. There it is. Read it one more time. Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. Your hand only gonna turn white because your ass is black. Now, let us read verse 7, chapter 4. And he said, put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again and drew it out of his bosom. Behold, it would restore like his other flesh. One more time. Verse 7, and he said, put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again and drew it out of his bosom. And behold, it was restored like his other flesh. I didn't put it there. I just see it. Can you? Now, continuation, and it's going on and on. And then it will be, if they do not believe you, nor heed the message of the first sign, that they may believe the message of the latter sign. And it shall be, if they do not believe even these two signs, or listen to your voice, that you shall take water from the river and pour it on the dry land. The water which you take from the river will become blood on the dry land. Then Moses said to thee, God, O my God, I am not eloquent, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. So the God said to him, who has made man's mouth? Or who makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, the God of gods? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say. But he said, oh my God, please send by the hand of whomever else you may send. So the anger of the God was kindled against Moses, and he said, is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well. And look, he is also coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. Now you shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth. And when I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, and I will teach you what you shall do. So you shall be your spokesman to the people, and he himself shall be as a mouth for you, and you shall be to him as God. And you shall take this rod in your hand, with which you shall do the signs. So Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, please let me go and return to my brethren who are in Egypt and see whether they are still alive. And Jethro said to Moses, go in peace. Now the God said to Moses in Midian, go, return to Egypt, for all the men who sought your life are dead. Then Moses took his wife and his sons and set them on a donkey and returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of the God in his hand. And the God said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, see that you do all these wonders before Pharaoh, which I put in your hand. But I will harden his heart, so that he will not let the people go. Then you shall say to Pharaoh, thus says the God, Israel is my son, my firstborn. So I say to you, let my son go, that he may serve me. But if you refuse to let him go, indeed, I will kill your son, your firstborn. And it came to pass on the way, at the encampment, that the God met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at Moses' feet and said, surely you are a husband of blood to me. So he let him go. Then she said, you are a husband of blood because of the circumcision. And the God said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. So he went and met him on the mountain of the God and kissed him. So Moses told Aaron all the words of the God who had sent him and all the signs which he had commanded him. Then Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spoke all the words which the God had spoken to Moses. Then he did the signs in the sight of the people. So the people believed. And when they heard that the God had visited the children of Israel and that he had looked on their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshiped. Chapter 5. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus says the God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is the God, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I do not know the God, nor will I let Israel go. So they said, the God of the Hebrews has met with us. Please let us go 3 days' journey into the desert and sacrifice to the God, our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. Then the king of Egypt said to them, Moses and Aaron, why do you take the people from their work? Get back to your labor. And Pharaoh said, look, the people of the land are many now, and you make them rest from their labor. So the same day Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people and the officers, saying, you shall no longer use excuse me. Juice should have been water. You shall no longer give the people straw to make brick as before. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And you shall lay on them the quota of bricks which they made before. You shall not reduce it, for they are idle. Therefore they cry out, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let more work be laid on the men, that they may labor in it, and let them not regard false words. And the taskmasters of the people and the officers went out and spoke to the people, saying, thus says Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Keep you blinded and thinking about their God. Go, get yourself straws where you can find it, yet none of your work will be reduced. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmasters forced them to hurry, saying, fulfill your work, your daily quota, as when there was straw. Also the officers of the children of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters set over them, were beaten and were asked, why have you not fulfilled your task in making brick, both yesterday and today, as before? Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried out to Pharaoh, saying, why are you dealing thus with your servants? There is no straw given to your servants, and they say to us, make brick. And indeed your servants are beaten, but the fault is not your own people. But he said, you are idle. Therefore you say, let us go and sacrifice to thee God. Therefore go now and work. For no straw shall be given you, yet you shall deliver the quota of bricks. And the officers of the children of Israel saw that they were in trouble after it was said, "You shall not reduce any bricks from your daily quota." Then as they came out from Pharaoh, they met Moses and Aaron, who stood there to meet them. And they said to them, "Let thee God look on you and judge, because you have made us abhorrent in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to kill us." So Moses returned to thee God and said, "Thee God, why have you brought trouble on this people? Why is it you have sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has done evil to this people. Neither have you delivered your people at all." Mm. Chapter 6. Then the God said to Moses, "Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh. For with a strong hand he will let them go, and with a strong hand he will drive them out of his land." And the God spoke to Moses and said to him, "I am the God. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name, God, the God, I was not known to them. I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage in which they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, say to the children of Israel, I am the God. I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will rescue you from their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched hand and with great judgments. I will take you as my people, and I will be your God. Then you shall know that I am the God, your God, who brings you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you as a heritage. I am the God. So Moses spoke thus to the children of Israel, but they did not heed Moses because of anguish of spirit and cruel bondage. And the God spoke to Moses, saying, Go in, tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the children of Israel go out of his land. And Moses spoke before the God, saying, The children of Israel have not heeded me. How then shall Pharaoh heed me, for I am of uncircumcised lips? Then the God spoke to Moses and Aaron, and gave them a commandment for the children of Israel, and for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. These are the heads of their fathers' houses, the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, were Hanak, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These are the families of Reuben. And the sons of Simeon were Yemuel, Yamin, Ohad, Yashim, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. These are the families of Simeon. These are the names of the sons of Levi, according to their generations: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137. The sons of Gershon were Libni and Shimi, according to their families. And the sons of Kohath were Amram, Ishar, Hebron, and Uziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133. The sons of Merari were Mali and Mushi. These are the families of Levi according to their generations. Now, Amram took for himself Yoshebed, his father's sister, as wife, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137. The sons of Ishar were Korah, 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 Nepheg, and Zikri, Zikri, Zikri. And the sons of Uziel were Mishael. And the sons of Uziel were Mishael, Azaphan, and Zikri. Aaron took to himself Le- Elisheba, daughter of Aminadab, sister Nahshon as wife, and she bore him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And the sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Abiash. These are the families of the Korahites. 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 Put it in there, you got Quran. Anyway, hey, Eleazar, Aaron's son, took for himself one of the daughters of Putiel as wife, and she bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites, according to the families. These are the same Aaron and Moses, to whom the God said, bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt according to their armies. These are the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. These are the same Moses and Aaron. And it came to pass on the day when the God spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, that the God spoke to Moses, saying, I am the God. Speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that all that I say to you. For Moses said before the God, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh heed me? Chapter 7, so the God said to Moses, see, I have made you as God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother shall be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall tell Pharaoh to send the children of Israel out of the land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh will not heed you, so that I may lay my hand on Egypt, and bring my armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the God, when I stretch out my hand on Egypt and bring out the children of Egypt from amongst them. Then Moses and Aaron did so, just as the God commanded them, so they did. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh, which is why I don't believe 83. Wow, Moses 80 years old, and my man 83. Wow, still babies. Anyhow, then the God spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh speaks to you, saying, show a miracle for yourself, and you shall say to Aaron, take a rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and let it become a serpent. So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh, and they did so just as the God commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. But Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, so the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For every man threw down his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods, and Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, as the God had said. So the God said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning, when he goes out to the water, and you shall stand by the river's bank to meet him. And the rod which was turned to a serpent you shall take in your hand, and you shall say to him, the God of the Hebrews has sent me to you, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. But indeed, until now, you will not heed. Thus says the God, by this you shall know that I am the God. Behold, I will strike the waters which are in the river with the rod that is in my hand, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that are in the river shall die. The river shall stink, and the Egyptians will loathe to drink the water of the river. Then the God spoke to Moses, saying, say to Aaron, take your rod and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over the streams, over the rivers, over the ponds, and over all their pools of water, that they may become blood. And there shall be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in buckets of wood and buckets of stone. And Moses and Aaron did so, just as the God commanded. So he lifted up the rod and struck the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. The fish that were in the river died, the river stank, And the Egyptians could not drink the water of the river. So there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Then the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them as the God had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. Neither was his heart moved by this. So all the Egyptians dug all around the river for water to drink, because they could not drink the water of the river. And 7 days passed after the God had struck the river. Chapter 8. And the God spoke to Moses, go to Pharaoh and say to him, thus says the God, let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite on your territory with frogs. So the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, into your bedroom, onto your bed, into the house of your servants, on your people, into their ovens, and into your kneading bowls. And the frogs shall come up on you, on your people, and on all your servants. Then the God spoke to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up on the land of Egypt. So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs on the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the God that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to the God. And Moses said to Pharaoh, accept the honor of saying, when I shall intercede for you, for your servants, and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and your houses, that they may remain in the river only. So he said, tomorrow. And he said, let it be according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like the God, our God. And the frogs shall depart from you, from your houses, from your servants, and from your people. They shall remain in the river alone. Then Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried out to the God concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. So the God did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields. They gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as the God had said. So the God said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the land, so that they may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. Lice. Lice. White folks, huh? White folks, black people don't get lice. Lice. White folks get lice. Black people don't get lice. Lice don't stick to black people. They stick to white folks. Wow. Keep that in mind. Very interesting. I never seen that till just now. Yeah. Exodus chapter 8, 16. So that it may become lice throughout all the land. Egypt. Lice. And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became lice on man and beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. Now the magicians so worked with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So there were lice on man and beast. Then the magician said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of the God. But Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, just as the God had said. And the God said to Moses, rise early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh as he comes up to the water. Then say to him, thus says the God, let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies on you and your servants, on your people, and into your houses. The houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand. And in that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, in order that you may know that I am the God in the midst of the land. I will make a difference between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall be. And the God did so. Thick swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh, into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted because of swarms of flies. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, "Go, sacrifice to your God in the land." And Moses said, "It is not right to do so, for we will be sacrificing the abomination of the Egyptians to the God, our God. If we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, then they will not stone us. We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the God, our God, as he will command us." So Pharaoh said, "I will let you go, that you may sacrifice to the God, your God, in the wilderness, only you shall not go very far away. Intercede for me." Then Moses said, "Indeed, I am going out from you, and I will entreat thee, God, that the swarms of flies may depart tomorrow from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. But let Pharaoh not deal deceitfully anymore in not letting the people go to sacrifice to thee, God." So Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated thee, God. And thee, God, did according to the word of Moses. He removed the swarm of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. Not one remained. But Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither would he let the people go. Chapter 9. Then the God said to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh and tell him, Thus says the God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go and still hold them, behold, the hand of the God will be on your cattle in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the oxen, and on the sheep, a very severe pestilence. And the God will make a difference between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt. So nothing shall die of all that belongs to the children of Israel." Then the God appointed a set time, saying, "Tomorrow the God will do this thing in the land." So the God did this thing on the next day, and all the livestock of Egypt died. But of the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. Then Pharaoh sent, and indeed, not even one of the livestock of the Israelites was dead. But the heart of Pharaoh became hard, and he did not let the people go. So the God said to Moses and Aaron, "Take to yourselves handfuls of ash from a furnace, and let Moses scatter it toward the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh. And it will become fine dust in all the land of Egypt, and it will cause boils that break out in sores on man and beast throughout all the land of Egypt." Then they took ashes from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses scattered them towards heaven. And they caused boils that broke out in sores on man and beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were on the magicians and all the Egyptians. But the God hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not heed them, just as the God had spoken to Moses. Then the God said to Moses, "Rise early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say to him, Thus says the God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For at this time I will send all my plague to your very heart, and on your servants and on your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the earth. Now, if I had stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, then you would have been cut off from the earth. But indeed, for this purpose I have raised you up, that I may show my power in you, and that my name may be declared in all the earth. As yet you exalt yourself against my people, and that you will not let them go. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause very heavy hail to rain down, such as has not been in Egypt since its founding until now. Therefore send now and gather your livestock and all that you have in the field, for the hail shall come down on every man and every animal which is found in the field and is not brought home, and they shall die. He who feared the word of the God among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his livestock flee to the houses. But he who did not regard the word of the God left his servants and his livestock in the field. Then the God said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, on man, on beast, and on every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt." And Moses stretched out his rod toward heaven, and the God sent thunder and hail and fire darted to the ground, and the God rained hail on the land of Egypt. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, so very heavy that there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. And the hail struck throughout the whole land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail struck every herb of the field and broke every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said to them, I have sinned this time. Thee God is righteous, and my people and I are wicked. Entreat thee God, that there may be no more mighty thundering and hail, for it is enough. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. So Moses said to him, as soon as I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands to thee, God. The thunder will cease, and there will be no more hail, that you may know that the earth is the God's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you will not yet fear the God. Now the flax and the barley were struck, for the barley was in the head, and the flax was in bud. But the wheat and the spelt were not struck, for they are late crops. So Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread out his hands to the Lord, to the God. Phew, I almost messed it up. Then the thunder and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured in the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain, the hail, and the thunder had ceased, he sinned yet more, and he hardened his heart, he and his servants. So the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Israel go, as the God had spoken by Moses. Chapter 10. Now the God said to Moses, go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants, that I may show these signs of mine before him, and that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's son the mighty things that I have done in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that you may know that I am the God. So Moses and Aaron came in to Pharaoh and said to him, thus says the God of the Hebrews, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territory, and they shall cover the face of the earth, so that no one will be able to see the earth. And they shall eat the residue of what is left, which remains to you from the hail. And they shall eat every tree which grows up for you out of the field. They shall fill your houses, the houses of your servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were on the earth to this day. And he turned and went out from Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh's servants said to him, how long shall this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve the God, their God. Do you not yet know that Egypt is destroyed? So Moses and Aaron were brought again to Pharaoh, and he said to them, go, serve the God, your God. Who are the ones that are going? And Moses said, we will go with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and our herds. We will go, for we must hold a feast to the God. Then he said to them, the God had better be with you when I let you and your little ones go. Beware, for evil is ahead of you. Not so, go now, you who are men, and serve the God, for that is what you desire. And they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. Then the God said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, all that the hail has left. So Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt, and the God brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. When it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts, and the locusts went up over the land of Egypt and rested on all the territory of Egypt. They were very severe. Previously, there had been no such locusts as they, nor shall there be such after them. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened. And they ate every herb of the land and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. So there remained nothing green on the trees or on the plants of the field throughout all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and hastened said, I have sinned against the God, your God, and against you. Now, therefore, please forgive my sin only this once, and entreat the God, your God, that he may take away from me this death only. So he went out from Pharaoh and entreated the God, and the God turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the territory of Egypt. But the God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go. Then he God said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness which may even be felt. Darkness which may even be felt. Ooh, that's deep darkness. A darkness which may even be felt. So Moses stretched out his hand towards heaven, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Then Pharaoh called to Moses and said, go, serve thee God. Only let your flocks and your herds be kept back. Let your little ones also go with you. But Moses said, you must also give us sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to thee God, our God. Our livestock also shall go with us, not a hoof shall be left behind, for we must take some of them to serve thee God, our God. And even we do not know with what we must serve thee God until we arrive there. But thee God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. Then Pharaoh said to him, get away from me. Take heed to yourself and see my face no more. For in the day you see my face, you shall die. So Moses said, you have spoken well. I will never see your face again. That's chapter 1 through 10. Second book of Moses, Exodus. Very interesting. As I'm reading this, I'm relearning stuff too. I mean, it's a lot of stuff I forgot about. And, wow. It's just, I'm learning. As I'm learning, as I'm reading this, I'm relearning everything and so on and so forth. In all actuality. As always, Asante Sana, for those who, watching and following and so on and so forth. I have no choice. I can't keep this to myself because it's I don't know how to. I don't know how to, fulfillment of purpose, not fulfillment, fulfillment of purpose, like Jesus. See, like people talking about Jesus coming back. What he coming back for? What he didn't do what he's supposed to do the first time? Yes, he did. Anyhow, my brothers, my sisters, as always, Asante. Mimi nikubele na wewe, mimi nikubele na mimi, moja kupenda. Furaha, sabasiku, furaha, sabasiku, furaha, sabasiku. Happy 7th day. Moja kupenda. Peace.